I've got a lot of electrical anomalies going on today, and when I tested this, there's a lot of almost like tinnitus static going on in the recording, but there's nothing that I can do about it. It's in all my electronics, so bear with me. Electronic harassment is not gang stalking. Gang stalking is not electronic harassment. People need to quit fusing the two together because it confuses the shit out of newbies or the curious. Gang stalking is a Stasi tactic that was used in East Germany on people to ruin their lives, on dissidents and people they didn't like. And electronic harassment is when you use sound or electromagnetic weapons to mess with somebody or people or their families or whatever. So with that, let's move on to another disclaimer. When you listen to the audio clips that I put up, I'm going to have to start putting this in every video. When you listen to the audio clips, listen to them with real speakers. And what I mean by that is good speakers or good headphones. Don't listen to it through your phone or with these really shitty mid-range computer speakers and then think, well, I can't hear anything, because you're not going to hear anything. When you listen to music on your phone, you only hear the high mid and the treble unless you have it duct taped to a fucking board or an amplifier. And the same thing with computer speakers. You only hear the mid-range. So you need good speakers or good headphones. And with that, let's move on. Robert Christensen, or Rob Christensen, is a guy who put up a video. And normally I don't search for like electronic harassment or V2K or any of that stuff anymore, because you kind of get caught in a loop of the same ideas coming in or out. I study technology now and try to stay out of that. Once in a while I do search though, like once a month. And I started using other search engines to search into Google, because I've noticed that Google is really, you know, I know that they're doing a big purge on people, but it's really hard to find stuff now. So I've been searching in different ways. And anyway, I was searching one night, ran across a video by this guy, and I just decided to watch it. And as it turned out, he was a guy that did my the end of electronic harassment symptoms video that I put out about detoxing yourself and getting rid of the fungus and the heavy metals and everything in your body and on your skin that causes a lot of these symptoms. He did it, and it fucking worked for him. He said he got rid of like 75% of his targeting symptoms, maybe better now. I don't know, I have to search again, but that's fucking awesome. And I know that it's helped a lot of people, but he's one of the first people that has made a video about it, and I just think it's fucking awesome. He's totally positive, and it's cool the way he explains it, because it's straight up, and he pretty much says I'm a dick, and I get it, because I do come across as a dick to a lot of people. That's totally cool. I'm comfortable with that. The reason why I come across as, you know, like this huge dick is because I never ever let myself take the victim mentality. I won't allow myself to do it. And to do that, like if I'm speaking one-on-one with somebody, I'm totally sympathetic. But what I'm not into is groupthink. Groupthink is dangerous. It causes all kinds of bad stuff. So anyway, he's right about everything that he said about me. He really is. But his video is awesome, and you have to check it out. I'm going to put a link to it below the video, so scope that. Also, somebody else made a comment about the last video that I put up called Your House Isn't Haunted. Somebody made a comment saying, you know, this coming from the guy that says it's just a fungus on our skin that we can wash off. And it's like, yeah, I think he misunderstood. So I guess I'm gonna have to repeat myself every video. Maybe I should make like a 30-second disclaimer or something that goes before all my videos. When I'm talking about the fungus and the heavy metals and the biofilm that's collecting things on our skin, including the aluminum, the barium, the everything that's coming from the sky, I'm saying that these things sensitize somebody to the electromagnetic fields and the radio waves and pulsed microwaves that are in the air. So where somebody who was in a home or a family of people who would all experience what would be haunted house type symptoms, where, you know, they hear voices or things moving or they hear something in their home. The person who is sensitized would actually begin to hear the voices on them or around them, and they would hear or feel the vibrations, the electric shocks moving up their legs, the pains, the stings, the pressure, the tinnitus, all of it. So that's the difference. Someone who is sensitized feels it personally, where if a house is being hit, they will just have basically haunted house symptoms. So that's the difference between a TI or someone who's being electronically harassed and a fake haunted house. So to say that the fungus by itself would cause V2K is absurd. It just sensitizes the person. People start to get fibers practically they're growing from the biofilm on their skin that look like they take over the hair follicle, and they look like fiber optics. They can be clear, blue, red, and it's what people, I know this, it's what people refer to as Morgellons. But this is on another level. Everybody that has Morgellons doesn't all have electronic harassment symptoms, but like 70 or 80% of Morgellons victims do have the tinnitus, and that's true. Which brings me to something else. This is what everybody has gotten wrong about Morgellons, and this is what has held up the medical industry, because it is an industry, from admitting that Morgellons is real and how they get away with it. It's kind of like the difference between saying chemtrails and geoengineering. If you say geoengineering, people take you seriously, and if you say chemtrails, people take you as a conspiracy theorist. What Morgellons really is the film is growing over your skin, and the fibers are coming from inside that film, between the film in your skin and through that and on top of your skin. Now, when people talk about it, they freak out. They always put the person on TV who believes that the fibers are literally coming out of their skin, and that is what they say, and the doctors don't take them seriously because it can't really happen. The fibers don't really come from your skin. They come from the biofilm that is over your skin, and doctors aren't looking close enough and really getting into it to realize that that is what's going on. That's not their skin that they see, and I can see that with a microscope easily. So I don't understand why they don't understand. But of course, most of them have been trained for all the years in medical school to just hand out prescriptions, so I guess it doesn't surprise me. Okay, let's get into the Your House Isn't Haunted Part 2. A lot of these recordings, like if you sit around, and a lot of people have these, and you shouldn't get rid of any recording. Go to Best Buy or get on Craigslist if you don't have the money and find a cheap hard drive, or go get some memory cards and save your recordings, because even though you can't hear anything, the signals and the audio is there. It's there. It just depends. Sometimes that can be the best evidence you have, and one that's really loud won't be as good after you have the other one cleaned up. It's important to save those, and sometimes you don't even have to clean them up. So you'll have a sound of like 3 bangs, but you'll have a voice that's equally loud over that. So it'll like, it's a syllable for each bang. So it could be like, I like you, or I hate you. And it will follow the beat of whatever sound is being made in the house, or whatever sound is being created in the house. I'm going to put a video out on that soon, with all the examples. You can do the same thing in a car. If the sound is penetrating your vehicle, you can do the same thing. And when you get road noise, the voices will follow the road noise. They will follow the wind. That's what they follow. It's crazy, I know, but it's true. So after explaining that, targeted individuals or sensitized people will really begin to make sense to people, because when you think about when you're laying in bed and you can hear your heartbeat and you can hear yourself breathing and you can hear your body, literally, these sounds are riding on your heartbeat, on your lungs. It follows your breathing pattern. It's intense, but it does. And I've talked to people before who said that they could hear things going on in the house, or they could hear something up against the wall. Let's say a voice up against the wall. When they held their breath or did something, it would bugger out and screw up or start to do something different. Okay, we're gonna go over some recordings now. There's quite a few of them, a handful of them in this batch. And some of them are older, some of them are newer, but it's a good mix of things that I've caught. Now I can catch this stuff 24/7. Also, if you're going to listen to this stuff, listen to it on good headphones or good speakers. Don't listen to it on your phone or listen to it on really shitty computer speakers and then comment, I can't hear anything. Well, of course you can't hear anything. You wouldn't even be able to hear music if you were listening to music. You'd hear like the mid-range of the signal and that was it. So listen to it on good stuff. And if you can, the best thing to do is to download this stuff, download the video, and then load the audio onto an audio editing program so that you can do this, see, and stop on a part of a WAV file that you can see and play it over and over. If you're just blindly going back and forth with like Windows Media Player or whatever you're using, or the player on the YouTube, you're not going to be able to hear shit. You're not going to be able to catch it and play it over and over and decipher what it's saying. You need to be able to see the wave and then click on a particular spot and go from there. So anyway, let's get started. Somebody messaged me and said, they said to me, it sounds like interference to me. And it's like, really? And that set me off because I'm going to play you some stuff now. And if you still think it's interference, then you either are high on the hard stuff or you have a bad case of cognitive dissonance. And if you don't know what that is, look it up. So right here, we're going to skip right to the what I call the spooky demon voice here. So let's just play it. Okay, now we're going to play the Fat Albert Ghoulie Demon, is what I named it. And this one is actually pretty old, but it's one of my favorites. You're going to hear my boots because I'm walking into the house. I walked into the bathroom, and then as I'm walking out, I'm walking through the house, and I had been recording through the day. You're going to hear a Fat Albert demon laugh, and then it says something else, like I have the 7 something. Anyway, I've guessed at what it said before. I'm not going to keep guessing. Doesn't matter quite what it says as long as it's there. So, here, let's play it. Okay, so that's me coughing. So let's listen to this again from here. Now, is this interference? Sounds like one of those old laugh boxes. Remember those laugh boxes that they sold at like like joke shops and stuff, and it came in like a velvet bag, and it was like a flesh colored box, and it took like 1C battery, and you would press the button and it would speak and do it always did the same track. And it would do this laugh. It sounds like one of those that's been like slowed down and pitched down. And that's where it says something. And then when you hear this stuff, those are my boots walking through the whole recording. So, point being is that this isn't interference. Now here's what I call the Subliminal Female track. I'm just going to let this one play all the way through. Okay, so you can hear the tech in there, and you can hear the voice talking. Most of these that sound, you know, they either sound like sing-songy, or they sound kind of like, they're like a hypnotic, like a soft hypnotic voice that's monotone, that does the same thing over and over. Most of those are recorded during sleep hours, you know, between like, let's say 10, 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. That's when most of those are recorded. Now the next one, but let me go back. Hear that tech stuff? You can hear the tech stuff throughout the whole recording, even at the very beginning. Different notes. So, right there. So, it's clearly not a ghoulie. Okay? There's no ghoulie here. Now this one is, it's going to say, y'all been gang raped, or something like that, but it says that, alright? Now I don't know any interference that's going to say y'all been gang raped. Oh yeah, it says y'all been fucking gang raped. Now that, what's crazy is that almost sounds like my voice in this part. But it's got like this really weird, like, almost like CB or amplifier feedback to it. It's not my voice, I'm not talking. And it's not my voice, so that's crazy. But I've heard that a lot. I've also heard pretty much anybody that comes into the house and speaks, their voice is eventually played back into one of these recordings. So it's learning the voices of people who come into the house. Now it goes into great in like files. If you think about, you know, they had what was Facebook long before Facebook that would associate you with other people that you associate with. So if you owned like a dry cleaners and this guy sold drugs and you were a known associate, they could link you up and say, okay, this guy knows this guy, we need to investigate his dry cleaning place to make sure that this guy isn't laundering money through this place. Do you get what I'm saying? It was called Prism or something. Anyway, that was Facebook before Facebook. So Facebook is clearly, it's a government op. It's been a government op. Now, if they've got a voice sample for all your known associates as well, well, that's just even better, right? Now, this recording is called, I just named it House Sounds. Now, these are, you'll get a lot of banging and clanking, and that's sitting in a room, dead quiet. You can sit in a house, especially a house with like hardwood floors or tile floors. You can sit with the recorder going and hear nothing. And when you play it back, you'll get like these crazy loud sounds. It sounds like somebody's dragging like a chair across the floor, or banging or clanking. But when you listen, they're also voice sounds. So let's listen to it. Now this is clearly whispering here. But that, it can sound like something dragging until you fuck with it and really tweak out the frequencies, and then you can hear that it is also a voice. There's also a voice inside the sound of the dragging or the clanking or banging or whatever it is. Now, next thing, when I take this interference, we'll call it, that's a joke, and keep boiling it down and boiling it down and tweaking those frequencies and tweaking those frequencies. My recording stopped there, but yeah, what you get, it almost starts to sound like a laser, like a Star Wars laser. So let's give it a whirl. Like, it's the same thing. Like, when I was a kid, I used to take wrenches. I'd take my dad's wrenches out and tap on the... We had these power lines that came down, and they were groundings that drove down into the ground that went up, and I would hit the power lines and record it, and it sounded just like the Star Wars sound effects, like the lasers and the guns and stuff. And that's I think that's where they actually got the sounds from. But anyway, that's what it sounds like. And you can hear like a crowd of people, like females almost talking in the background, because when you dig into these voices, the reason why they're so hard to isolate is there are thousands and thousands and thousands of voices in one. But the one that is at your house, the one that is assigned to you, is the one that's going to be the loudest. But that's why it's so hard to isolate, because there's so many voices around it. And it's almost as if there's one for each family member in your house as well, which is really crazy. Here's a voice low. Let's play this, see what it is. Oh yeah, this is one of the ones that you'll get, ones that sound like snorts or pigs or low voices, you know, where people go, oh my god, that's demonic. Well, listen to it. I just slowed it down a little bit on this one. And it's not, you know, it's a voice that's been really tweaked. Here are voices clanking. Okay, this is another one where you're sitting in the house and you're recording, and it will sound like bangs and clanks, and you were sitting in dead silence, and you're like, what the fuck? You know, sometimes it sounds like they're dragging furniture across like a cement floor. See, you're sitting in dead silence and you get this stuff, and it's not interference. This sounds like things being moved around, but it also, when you start to tweak it and fuck with it, you can hear voices within that noise. It's riding on the ambient noise, so it's almost like like if there's no ambient noise, it's going to create ambient noise for these voices to ride on. Now, if you listen to that over and over, and you have to spend like a night listening to this stuff and getting used to how the signals work, how the voice is inside the signal to really be able to hear it. So that could easily be a noise, but when you listen to it, it can also be a voice. Now, this one is perfect. This is for the person that said it sounds like interference to me. Now, this is another one that is recorded during sleep time, what would be considered sleep time for most people, which I'm usually up. This is a repeated voice, one of those sing-songy slash hypnotic type voices. I'm going to play it forward, and then I'm going to play it backwards. So let's listen to it. Is this, the way it's patterned, is this following somebody's breathing pattern? Probably. That's what it sounds like to me, that it's following a breathing pattern. Alright, is it following the person's breathing, or is it trying to get your breathing to sync with it? I don't know, but it's there. Now, we're going to play it backwards, and it sounds like it's saying, burn the house. Okay, so there's that. If you want to go over it further, like I said, download the video, and then put the audio into an audio editing program, and you can learn a lot. Even if these aren't your specific sounds, you can learn a lot by going over them and checking them out in an audio editing program where you can stop on the wave, like I said earlier. Now this one is a great example. My friend had just bought a brand new phone. Like, we took it out of the box at my house. And when he did, I said, dude, this thing's brand new. It hasn't been fucked with. Let's turn on the recorder and let's try to do some recording in the bedroom. And we did. Because everybody that I know has heard this stuff. They know there's something going on here. I don't have people that are doubting me, because I wouldn't let that happen. I went above and beyond to prove what was happening. You know what I mean? So anyway, we got like a good 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes of recordings that were really good. You could hear like clear voices saying, one of them said it sounds like he has company. And my friend heard that and went, what the fuck? So right here is the part of the recording where we were getting really clear voices, and you're going to hear a squelch right here that hit his phone. And it was loud. I boosted everything else up, but this part was the loudest part at one point. You get the squelch, and then it would not record the same anymore. It was just getting the mumbling, crazy, like thousands of voices, not one that was particularly loud. So let's check it out. So it almost sounds like here, like a door or something opens up, but nothing does. We were down the hall and in another room. But yeah, let's listen to the squelch again. So right at that squelch, what we were recording and the quality that we were recording stopped. Well, you can still hear stuff, but it's more mumbled and cluttered up than it was before. Alright, here's a recording that I did with a Handycam, and these ones are really interesting because when you're not making sounds sometimes and in certain rooms, it sounds like you're not adding any effect to it, and it sounds like the recording is being made inside a big pipe, like you're in this big tunnel or a pipe and you're recording, and it's not. So let's check it out. Hear that? Not only does it sound like it's in a pipe, this last word right here sounds like Germany. And this is another reason why you need an audio editing program to go over this stuff. And good speakers or good headphones. Let's listen here. Sounds like Germany. Germany. That's what it sounds like to me. Okay, here's another repeater, and this is another one that was recorded during sleeping hours. Not a ghoulie or a ghost. This is comparable to a la psychic driving. This is the kind of shit that they use, and this is what I record at night. A lot of the things that I record at night, when you whittle it down and get the frequencies out of the way and the things that are blocking it, it's something being repeated over and over to the person. So when you listen to it, it sounds like something is being repeated over and over, and then here and there's something thrown in between. It's the same thing over and over. So there you go. Is that interference? Fuck, no, it's not. Is it a ghost? Fuck, no, it's not. So, alright, here's more bangs when you're in a silent house and you've got more bangs and creaking and popping, and then you record it and listen to it. Okay, you can hear a reverb in there that is not supposed to be there. It shouldn't be there. It shouldn't be in the recording. And it sounds like you're in a huge aluminum room or something. And you're not. You know, you're hanging out in like a bedroom or in your living room. So there's something to be said about that. But also, it's a lot easier to record in big rooms and catch this. You know, like if you're in a big garage with nothing in it, or bathrooms seem to catch more because bathrooms generally have a tile floor and there's more area for the sound to bounce off. You know, no carpet, no deadening, and it seems to catch it better. But so if you listen to that, it sounds like something being dragged and yanked around, but if you fuck with it, there's a voice in there too. It has this sound that works in people's houses. It has its own gain. It will adjust itself to the house. If you start to use a vacuum or something that makes noise, lots of vacuum, a blender, a blow dryer, anything like that that makes noise, it will adjust itself and bring the noise up to that level. And as soon as it goes down, that is when the voice will auto gain, drop right back down with it. Now the trick is if you hit it with loud noise for a couple seconds and stop, a lot of the times it keeps going because it's not awesome. This system, people give it way too much credit. This system is a rusted out, barely running, bondoed motherfucking jalopy at best. Alright, let's get to some science. And this didn't come from, somebody's website that they created and made up a bunch of shit. These are scientific articles that I've been accumulating, and a couple of them are really important. And I've been telling people that this affects your dreams. And if you can remember dreaming 15, 20 years ago, even as a kid, you dreamt differently than you do now. Your sleep pattern is so much different. People's sleep patterns, they don't wake up and say, dude, I had the craziest dreams, I gotta tell you about this. That rarely happens anymore. People aren't dreaming like they should be. And that's important. People are being affected by this. And if you listen to the things that are being recorded in my house at night while people are sleeping, it's even a bigger clue. So let's get right to it. Human sleep, EEG, under the influence of pulsed radio frequency electromagnetic fields. Alright? Abstract. Former exploratory investigations of sleep alterations due to Global System for Mobile Communications, GSM, signals have shown a hypnotic and REM suppressive effect under field exposure. This effect was observed in a first study using power flux density. I won't go into that. But what this is saying, it's saying that the signals from wireless and cell signals show a hypnotic and REM. REM is the most important part of your sleep, and it's being suppressed by these signals. Now, if they're suppressing that and shooting other things in, your dreams are not your own. Do you understand what I'm saying? And when they're being influenced by vocal cues and audio signals being pumped everywhere at night while people sleep, your dreams are being completely and utterly manipulated and or just chopped out, and you're not sleeping and you're just sort of in a hypnotic trance throughout the entire night. And that's why so many people are sleeping and feeling like absolute dog shit after sleeping 8 hours instead of getting up and wanting to, go jogging or go ride a bike or do everything that they used to do. You're being cooked out. But, people have said it, and I've been telling people this. Wait till 5G comes, and then when all these people start fucking complaining, they're gonna be wishing that they had listened to the people that were in the underbelly talking about this. Alright, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and lulz co serve. Why? Because it's a nod to lulzsec, and it's laughing out loud at covert surveillance, because there's no such thing as covert surveillance. Everything leaves evidence. Everything.